Okay, we'll go through Hilchas Ksumam this week. The Nekida we mentioned last week, last year, but the Nekida Shadvurim is azoi. Minat Torah is a isha does not get toma only if she has a hargosha. She feels, as we mentioned last year, there's three kinds of hargoshas. Hargosha means there's a iverov. Agusha, she has pain, and Argusha, which is a machloikus of Achroinam, which is she feels coming out from her mokar, zivas duvalach, which is a machloikus noid b'yida. Some poskim do not agree with such a thing. We're taking it. Al Rebbe does accept this Argusha, but it's much more lenient this Argusha than other Argushas. So Minatoira, only if you have Argusha, only then you get Toma. If she finds a kesem, a little blood, which is called a kesem, that means she did not feel anything when it came out, is mitzad Minatoira, it's not Toma. Now, there's two reasons which we have why she's not Toma. But Pashtas, there's a Chazal, in Gemur Dashas in the Chesnida, in Mesechtas Nida, Chuf Aleph. The Posik says, "Hu isha kitiyazova dam yazoive bifsura." That's the Posik which you have in the Torah. The Torah says, "Dam yazoive bifsura." So Chazal darshan at she margisha at shetargish bifsura. She has to feel bifsura that it comes out. It's like Zayrus, so to speak. That means if she doesn't feel anything, is manatoir is nicht metama. Now, Bapashtas, we learn Bapashtas, the Pshat is, Sagzayr Sakusiv. The Torah says, I want, Dami Yazoivi Bevsura, I want it to be Dafka, when it comes out, you feel when it's Bevsura, if it's, you don't feel, the Torah is Gasset, Sagzayr Sakusiv. Kemuven, as that's only a Kesem. Because if she has a flow, although she did not feel, we are saying she is Tom Menatoira. Why? Because we are saying that she had Argosha. But she didn't feel it. A person is into something, yeah. She might have Argosha, but she doesn't realize. It's not after she puts her mind to it. A person could wash the dishes. A lady could wash the dishes and will get a bee bite or a mosquito bite. She's gonna feel it. But if she's bidding in the middle of washing dishes or doing something else, she's not gonna put her mind to it. That doesn't mean she didn't feel. So we say that. When you have a flow, automatically she felt. She didn't realize that she's like a cup. But that means the Lush Chazal is Chazuka as Shedam Bu Bargusha. When it's a real flow, Dam Bu Bargusha. And as we mentioned last week, the Nekida Shadvurim how to know what is considered a flow and what is considered a kesem. If it is less than a credit card, or some points can say $50, American $50, then we are going to say it is a kesem. And it goes into Hilchas Kesem. If it is more than a credit card or $50, or as I mentioned, the Moshe Naishad used to say, if the blood which he has on this kesem would have been in the toilet, in the water would have turned red, that's already a flow, and that's even if she doesn't feel, is Medraisa. I want to make it clear, very clear, because people should not have this to us that today's day we don't feel that much. So therefore, we're not Tumah Minatoira. We are Tumah Minatoira. It's a Gzair Sakusiv that when it's a Kesem, it's only a drop of blood, then it is Minatoira, it's okay. That's one way how to look at it. There's another way, which is the andere Shoinim Lein Pshat, that's really the Tzemach Tzedek in the Chivas Pshat, as we say that it's not exact Sakusiv. If I were to say exact Sakusiv is this, if 100% sure that it comes from Megifoy, then it is Usar. But the Tzemach Tzedek goes according to the Poskim, the Rishonim, which want to say that it's a svura that she didn't feel, might come ma'alma. Dilma ma'alma. Maybe it's not from her body. Now, although it's a very minute istabrut, that means it's almost sure that it came from the body, but since it's far-fetched, maybe she did see it came from something else, So therefore, that's the reason was Torah hat gesagt as ins Asem nicht. That means with the Tzemach Tzedek gesagt, if there is a suffer kuten that maybe she got a scratch or maybe she got from something else, not from the makar, so therefore it's menatoira, it's midda. Now that's only menatoira. Chazal ham goize gewein that you should have timas ksumim. You should timas ksumim. That means if you have a kesem, although you didn't feel, 100% you didn't feel, it's still also. Oh, but that's only midrabanan. So since it's only midrabanan, they gave klulam, they gave conditions when they said the Isser and when they didn't say the Isser. And the klulam are 3 klulam, which is, we're going to go a little bit later, the protem on it. But first, the klulam, 3 klulam is, that has to be kegriz v'oid. Has to be a size like a griz. What is a griz? It's a machloikes achroinam. The Welt hat ungenehmen, most of the poiske ungenehmen, it's 19 millimeter. The Alter Rebbe, the idea that Maril is brings that Alter Rebbe, Safiyuma, we going busy with sheer griz, and he came a little bit less. So our sheet is a little bit smaller than the Welt sheet. It's 70 millimeters. So I can put him to have it, to eat, make it easy. If it is less than a dime, then Chazal haben gesagt, then we're not aser. I don't aser. Why? It's because it's smaller can griz v'oid. Why? What's the svura definition? The svura is a very simple svura. Once upon a time, and it's not once upon a time, it comes back in nowadays, but once upon a time there was a lot of bed bugs. There was a lot of jukim in bed. And people slept with it, they got hurt from it, and therefore, always there was the Lushif in the Rishonim is, less than kegris, no woman would have been to her. Because constantly they had bites from this kind, and they slept with it, and you killed one, and when you kill such a fly, automatically comes out blood. So, so therefore Chazal said that basically, no, if it's more than a gris, then it's not from a I'm going to call it bed bug, although our bed bugs, which came back the last couple of years, which is infested in New York especially, is less than a gris. But Akaponam, Chazal said that since it is, there's a lot of bugs which you could make bites, and you'll have, so therefore, if it is less than a gris, we are going to say it's okay. It's not a problem. Because since the whole Kesim is not a Drabunan, the Drabunan said, that if it's less than a gris, it's not a problem. That although in our bugs, our bed bugs, is less than a gris, if you have a bed bug which you kill, is less than a gris, but Chazal Mosavegestelt Gris Void is we don't change it. There are some times in the halacha which we're going to mention that some soifer with the andere was am ungenehmen as when you want, sometimes you're going to only be Michael bugs which is we have in our time. That means if it is more blood than a bug which we have, we will be machmar. But that's only in some cases. But Chazal haben weggestellt as if it's less than gris v'oid, I don't have a problem with it. I'm not matama. So therefore, although by us we don't have such a big kind of bugs, then it's not a problem. That's one of the killers of Chazal haben gesucht. That means it has to be a size. Kigris void, again, to make it easier, it is around a dime. Then Chazal said another thing that has to be a kesem al duvar makabel tima. You have to find the kesem on a thing which makabel tima. And the reason why, if it's not a duvar makabel tima, Chazal said, I didn't ask. What is the reason? So the Ran writes a geschmack reason that why did Chazal say, one of the things Chazal asked the kesem is because when you have dam, which is on a less than a gris, yeah, if it's not bar gusha, menatoir is okay. But this dam, which is without a gusha, if this dam falls on truma, the truma gets tuma. The truma gets it's tameya. Kodeshim gets tama. You burn truma and kodeshim if it a little blood, even if it's blood which is shloi bar gusha, it's matamazan. So Chazal said that we have to aser also a kesem lebala because it doesn't make sense. How will people look at it? that this blood, lebala, it's okay, if a trimmer in Kuddushim is not okay. So since Chazal had afraid that people will be Michael and trim and Kuddushim also, because if they know for Labala it's okay, for trim and Kuddushim they won't be Michael, they said, I want to ask also for Labala. So therefore, the Chazal asked a kesem Labala. But that's only if it's an Aduvra Makabal Tima. So Aduvra Makabal Tima, they were choishes that could be Matama Trimas Kuddushim. But when it comes to when it's not Aduvra Makabal Tima, since that will not be Matama Trimma v'Kudushim, it's not Makabal Tima. So Chazal said, I don't care, it's not Makabal Tima, then it's not a problem. Now, if it's an Dura Makabal Tima, that is even if it's bigger than a gris, bigger than a dime, because if it's less than a dime, I don't need, it should be Ein Makabal Tima. It's enough even if it's Makabal Tima, because we are saying it comes from a juk, from a bed bug. The chiddush is that if it is bigger than the gris void, if you don't have, if it would have been a makabel tema, we would have aser. If it would have been a makabel tema, then we are going to be Michael. That's the second t'nai was Chazal say. We're going to go into details, prutum, but we should get the nekida. The third thing what Chazal said is that has to be on a white thing. Has to be a white. If it's big, it's voini. If it's a colored, we are not machmar on ksomim. Why? The pashas the reason is because Torah ge'ased red, finnev b'maras, but we don't know exactly the colors. So Chazal said that if it is on a baguette, which is a colored baguette, we might not see real the redness. So therefore, I'm going to if it's on white, it's aser. If it's not, if it's a baguette which is tzivoini, it's colored baguette, then we are going to be Michael, and it's not a problem. There's a big machloikus in Achroinas Manaini, if it has to be real covered, or it could be light covered. So that's why I always say it's kedai that women which have problems of ksomam, which a lot of them have, especially if you take birth control, beheter arov, so a lot of birth controls make staining. So therefore, in such a case, it's kedai, when she's clean, she should have big disavoinim. When she's in the Shiva Nekim, she has to have white, but the Shiva Nekim, when it's not Shiva Nekim, it's kedai, and it's kedai she should have as dark as possible. If it's black or real dark, because sometimes you have light, agam, sometimes the killer too, but in order all the poskim should be happy, it's kedai to have real one. Off-white, we consider also as white. So therefore, it's kedai, a person which has problems, ksumam, Chazal said, and the Chazal said it, that a lady which has problems of ksumam, she should basically wear colored underwear, and that solves a lot of problems. So now let's go into a little bit into details. First of all is, when a lady sees a kesem, it's very important to stress this. When a lady sees a kesem, the instinct is to run and make a bedika. Don't make a bedika. You never make a bedika if you're not told so, or according to the law you need to. No, don't make a bedika, because if you have a kesem, we have ways how to be Michael. Again, the size, the color, the ramakabal tima. Once you make a bedika and you find something, even the tiniest drop, you lose all the satiram. All the satiram you're going to lose. Then we only be able to Michael if the color is not red. So therefore, never make a bedika. If you saw something, ask a Rov Ashayla. If the Rov will tell you to make a bedika, fine. If not, don't make a bedika. And that's very common that they don't make a bedika because the bedika doesn't help you. Let's assume you made a bedika, it comes out clean. It doesn't tell me that the kesem wasn't. You could have before was tama, and now it's clean. So you still tama. So the bedika does not give me any benefits. It only makes problems. So we have to make sure find something, or you flushed in the toilet, or whatever you saw. Don't make a bedika in any case. Good. So now the first thing is that has a shear. Let's go first. The first thing. Chazal say that in order you should be toma midrabon al kesem, has to be grizvo oid. As I mentioned before, bigger than a dime, only then it will be toma. But that's only if it's red. Red blood, you could have, if it's less than a griz, it's okay. If it's black blood, yeah, sometimes you have real dark blood, and it has to be black, and that's why it's good to ask Rav if you have such a question, because most of the time you're not going to find black. But if, for instance, it is taka black, then there's no heter of kigrizvoid. Because why? Because we just said before, the reason why we are making kigrizvoid because you have bed bugs, and therefore we assume that it comes from the blood from the bed bug. But since the blood of the bed bug is red and it was never black, so therefore we cannot be Michael when it's black. When you have a shala of black, you have to show it for the roof. I would say most of the time, it's probably it's not even blood, because black, but it could happen. Because I'll say blood, there is such thing as a black blood, but most of the time, it's probably it's not blood. So therefore, you have to show it for the roof, because then how to go about it. But over there's not a heter of kigris void. Now, as I mentioned before, even today's day, our bed bugs are smaller than the size. We are going to be Michael, because Chazalam is Shgaser. I'm Chazalam is Shgaser. We cannot be Goizer things which is which Chazal didn't aser. If they found a kesem puches megigris beyoim ha'oine beinenes, or a veskavia, if someone has. But a kapun oine beinenes has the same halacha as we mentioned last time as a veskavia. If you found a kesem puches megigris, if you found the kesem, even puches megigris, if it's oine beinenes, then you should make a b'dika. Although you be'esem dust any case machna b'dika, it's oine beinenes, but then it's kedai to make a b'dika right away, at least to know that where you're holding. Because it's oine beinenes. Although, as I mentioned last time, it won't help you of the oine beinenes, because oine beinenes we have to make the last minute of the day, as we mentioned, barichas, as according to the Alter Rebbe, according to most poiskim, the oine beinenes has to be the b'dika right at the end of the day. But over here, since she saw a case in v'yoim ha'oine beinenes, over there you should make a b'dika. Another thing is Indian that we mentioned last time, that over a vest, the loch is like this. If a person had the chash vest hachodesh, yeah, and it's not a vest kaviyah, it went through, and you forgot to make a b'dika at the end of the day. You forgot, you didn't make a b'dika yom hachodesh. So the loch is me'ikar adin, over a vest, you don't have to make a b'dika anymore. The meaning is, you make a b'dika afterwards, but mitzad halucha, you don't have to make a b'dika, only oine beinenes. Oine beinenes, since oine beinenes has a din of a vest kaviyah, so over a vest, v'loy botka asura, she's asur for the husband till she makes a b'dika. She can make a b'dika afterwards, but till she makes a b'dika, she's asur. So now when she sees a kesem b'yoim chashash vest, although it's yom chashash vest, and she didn't make a b'dika, in such a case, we are makbet that she should make a b'dika over a vest. Although mitzad haluch over a vest, v'loy botka, it's okay, but since she saw a kesem even when a vest she'ayne kiviyah, that she should make a b'dika afterwards. Now, even though a kesem is not a Yisad Rabbunan, we are not Michael, for instance, if you have a sufuk. If you have a kesem, you have a sufuk, if it has the shear, knows it has the shear, and the Rav Kenish Machlas and whatever it should be, we don't say the Chrem Zugen Klur, we don't say the killer, as since it's a Rabbunan, a sufuk Rabbunan killer, as a sufuk Yediyah is nicht kan sufuk of Tzikana Michael sein. Steht Maril schon, die Sache. The same will also be if a lady saw a kesem and it is 100% red. She said for the Rav, I saw it's red, which usually it's matama, but I don't know how big it was. So now you have a problem. How big it was? How big was the shear? If she has a sufuk of the color, then that's something else. But if she says the color was a red color, it's only, I don't know if it was a gris or nishke gris or not, in such a case we will be machmad, and we don't say for sufuk rabbunan hukl. Because sufuk rabbunan hukl is only when the Isra is rabbunan, we have a sufuk. Do over here, bakesam, am chazal machmad gewein. So therefore in such a case, we'll be machmad. But again, that's only if she knows 100% that it's red. Most of the time, a lady cannot say 100% if it's red. In Bechlal, I always advise people, it's kedai, and if you didn't do it till now, you do it now, change the bulb in the toilet. If you have a fluorescent bulb, change it to a regular yellow bulb. It might cost a little bit more in electric, but it gives us a lot of lenience when it comes to answer shala once you see something in the toilet and you flushed it down, because once you have such a bulb, it makes it more reddish. But as I mentioned last week, I'm going to say it again, never look at the toilet bowl. Never look when you go in the toilet. Go close the eyes, close electric. It only makes problems. But again, if you looked, you don't throw away anything. But I can put him tzrik, we're not Michael. If she is in the Shiva Nikiyam, if she is Tohira, then must man dan zan of Mistapik Bashir. Aber I can put him, beoifen wie sie ist Shiva Nikiyam, we are going to be Michael even for Kesem. If she felt something and she saw a Kesem, over there we're also, the loch is, as we mentioned last week, what did you say? I said like this. When I said before, when you have a suffix of the Groiskeit, then you're Machmar, that will be in the Shiva Nikiyam. If it's B'maya Tahara, we will have some leeway. But again, this is mehr Sachs von a lot of these halachas is pushen the Sachen the Meirud aufzuwissen, aber sie kann auszuschmissen den Kiddes. When a lady felt something, the halacha is that whenever she feels something, then she has to make a bedika. And if she didn't find anything, then it's a problem. If she found a maratohira, that's fine. We say the argusha was for a maratohira. But if she found not a kosher mara, or she found nothing, we're going to have a problem. Because she had a argusha. I'm talking a real argusha. When it comes to argusha, zivus duvalach, we are going to be more lenient. As we mentioned last time, it's a machlokas. The Nedbide holds, and the Alter Rebbe goes with the Nedbide, zivus duvalach is argusha, but a lot of poiskim disagree, and so we are also matzaraf, other poiskim, that when zivus duvalach, we could play around. But that's only when we say, if she had some kind of zivus duvalach, and she checked herself, and she didn't find anything, although by the other hargushas we're going to aser, zivus duvalach, we're going to be more lenient. But if she found a kesem, poches mekigris, even if she only had the hargush of zivus duvalach, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be toma. So therefore, if she feels zivus duvalach, she feels inside that something is dripping or something is coming out. Now again, zivus duvalach does not mean coming out all the way, on the underwear. It means inside she has to feel something which is dripping, which there are such a thing they could feel. Such a case, if she found a case of Bukhs Megiris, that will be a problem. That will be asa. Because she has already over Gosha, so therefore in such a case we will be a machmar. Although we are going to be a Mike, but even do Allah, when we need, but when it comes, he found something, even though he found Bukhs Megiris, we're going to be a machmar. When a lady wakes up in the morning and she finds on her underwear, she finds a kesem. Yeah? Now, maybe she felt something. She was sleeping. So maybe we're not going according to this. Since she found it in the morning and she didn't feel when she found it, we are not going to consider this. Maybe she had a gdusha argisha in the middle of sleep. We are not machmar on this. Rabbozen will taran if a lady takes sleeping pills, which she sleeps real deep, that she wouldn't feel her gosha even when she has her gosha. It should be a machmar, but lamasa, we are going to, we don't have this shaila if she takes sleeping pills. Like upon him, but the kids that were missed, we're not choish stam that maybe she had a gusha stam azoy.
What if it's brown blood, she wakes up and it's brown from dried out blood?
Again, then you have to show. So we say like this. It's not like a gosh, it's a kesem. We have to deal it like all the halachas of kesem. If it's less than a gris, it's okay. If it's a colored, it's okay. If it is einem kabel timmer, it's okay. We deal as if it is a kesem. I only want to say we don't deal at it that maybe she had a gosha and we put it into a darais digishala. We are leave it as a drabonon and we deal it according whatever you were pasking when she finds it in the middle of the day. We will paskin when she wakes up in the morning and she sees something. If she sees a kesem after she went to the ladies' room, then, as I mentioned last week, then we're going into a little bit of problems. So therefore, it's always kedai that she should not wipe herself b'chlal at least 15-20 seconds after she finished going out. Because then we have some lenient, and then we have to ask other questions. If you wiped and it's after, if it's the second wipe, or if it is you waited 15, 20 seconds, we have some lenient. If it's right after Turus Maraglaim, we are going into a problem of a deraisa. Because again, we are afraid maybe it came by Agusha, and she thought that's a Agusha of Maraglaim. So again, it's always kedai if she could wait 15, 20 seconds before she starts wiping. And as I mentioned last week, I'm going to say it over again because this is shilas which you have every week 10 times. She should wipe as wide as possible and try not to go in trying to, if she's going to have by mistake look at it and she'll have a shaila, we could have some kind of tzerifim being Michael. If she went to the doctor and he made some kind of badikin, then she found the grease, then you have to ask the doctor, what did he do, what kind of tests? Because again, you're going into problems of maybe she had a hargusha. If you have a kesem, which is puchsbeke grease, but it's a thick, it's angezap, so to speak, we are going to consider it puchsbeke grease. Because since as on the beggar is puchsbeke grease, Rabozan wants to say if it's very thick, really thick, then you should then something else. But usually we are not going to say that since it's deep, so therefore it is more than grease. Because let's assume this drop, if it would have been on a flat, maybe it would have gone wider than it is. We found it puchs megigris. We could be Michael. Now, if one day will come that we're going to have box which is bigger than a gris, and it will be common in beds, then of course the halacha is going to change, and we're going to be Michael Mokin gris. But as of now, not only that we don't have such kind of box, our bed box is smaller. But again, as I mentioned, that the pashtas we take that till gris we are giving Michael. Although the Chassam Sofer is not happy with it, Chassam Sofer wants to say that we have to look at it only according to what we have today. But Lamasa ins Paskim nicht so. This all what we said, kesem shenimtza, which you could say if it's gegris void, that's only if you found it on a baguette. If you found it on her body, is a different ballgame. When she find, then we have to know where she found it. If it's a place which blood from Oisem Mukim should come, then it's a different halacha. And if it's a place which it could come from her body, then even less than a gris we will be machmar. But that we'll have to know. Today's day is much easier because today's day we are going with underwear which is tzmidim legif, which is connected to the gif. So this makes us a lot of easier because you cannot have b'derech klal that you should have a stain on the guf and the underwear should be clean. Except if she went to the toilet, she took off the underwear, then we're going to go into the shaila. But stamazo, if she found a little bit blood, when she's wearing underwear and she knows she didn't go from the last time she was checked herself, she was clean. She didn't see anything on her feet, let's say, the inner feet, which that's a place which we are choishes that comes from Bois Hamukam. So then we are going to be Michael because we be good what's in the gift. She went to the ladies' room, that's something else because it might drip once she took it off. So that's all of the halachas which we had regarding of a gris v'oid. When you could be Michael, make another Michael. So now let's go to the next step. Next step, what we said, next killer was eine makabel tima. Even if it's bigger than a gris, Chazal did not ask for eine makabel tima. What things are eine makabel tima? Our paper and our toilet paper, we accept it's almost consensus, it's eine makabel tima. Although the Noide B'Yida holds that paper is makabel tima, but the Chassam Sofer disagrees with him, and most poskim disagree with the Noide B'Yida, and some poskim, Rav Ozen with Rav Moshe Feinstein, said that even the Noide B'Yida didn't say on our paper, it said paper which was once upon a time, that's different paper. Our paper, according to Ribe Kekila, this is how we pasken, is considered eine makabel tima. But that's only if you didn't make it a baguette. If a person made a underwear from paper, which you have, all the women, they have such a thing as pull-ups, or from paper, then you're going into that's something else, that could be makabel tima. But derech klal, a tissue, toilet paper, or this kind of things, it's considered eine makabel tima, and whenever you're going to find over there, if it's only a kesem, that means if you didn't go in by Samukim, if you found on a tissue paper, then we could be Michael. without a gosha. You have to have this constantly in mind, except if you have a gosha. Plastic, we are also saying it's eine mekabel tima, and a lot of pads are made from plastic, and therefore it's very good because it's eine mekabel tima. Nylon, synthetic, we are also considering eine mekabel tima. So I would say most of the pads is not a problem. It's eine mekabel tima. If you made from nylon or of synthetic, if you made a baguette, do ga mishlan machlokas. Some points me chesitzchig in the Rafarkish machmer, Ravosder, and Igris Moshe's Michael. So then you have to ask Shanarov. But again, I don't think it's a practical question for a young woman. Nobody has underwear, panties, which is basically from nylon. So therefore, it's not like but again, you gotta need to know this. But Akapona, we have to know that basically most of the pads is eine mekabel tima. So therefore, we have a lot of lenience if you find on the pad a kesem, even if it's bigger than kigris void. When you find blood in the toilet, if you found it on the toilet bowl, that means inside of the toilet bowl. If you found it on toya, if you found it on maraglaim, all these things is eine mekabel tima. Even if you found it in the water from the toilet bowl, it's considered eine mekabel tima. It's a machloikas. Ramai Baranzafer, he's probably the only one who wants to say that water, which is in the toilet bowl, is mekabel tima, because since this water comes from a tank, which the water basically could be for washing hands, it could be for drinking, it could be for the toilet. So therefore, since the water in the tank, the water in the street, it is mekabel tima because you might drink it. So therefore, it's mekabel tima. But all achroinim agree with Puparuf the V'chi Yosef. And there's a nice shiva of Mechasitzig also, which agree that water, and it's a very nice killer, because a lot of times we have a kesem on the water, and if you say that that's mekabel tima, you have a problem. You have to go, if it's a gris, not a gris, and it's very difficult to see if it's a gris or not. So therefore, we are considering it water. That means the toilet bowl, water, the tzoya, the paper inside, all of them is considered eine mekabel tima, and we have to, we could be mighty. But again, we have to know only if it's after Maraglaim, after 30 seconds, and only after she didn't go in. Because if not, you have the other problem that maybe she saw Batulas Maraglaim, which has nothing to do with Kesem. That's right, not a din in a Kesem. If we know it's a Kesem and it's on a paper, then we could have leeway. What? The toilet, it could be, but it's Mechiva Lekarka. So since Mechiva Lekarka is eine mekabel tima. That's why you found on the floor, Karka Oilam. It's interessant to do a shala if you found on a thing which is a bias, which is mekabel tima, only timas legom or not. So if it's not mekabel tima, it's mechim lekarka. But it's mekabel tima, timas legom. For instance, a house in Eretz Yisrael, Nishi Yerushalayim, because Chesed there's no timas legom. So in Eretz Yisrael, Nishi Yerushalayim, someone wants to say that such a case it is mekabel ksumam. But Pashtus von Alter Rebbe is auch mashmas as se nicht kann mekabel tima.
So when is it a question?
What?
When is it a question?
The question is if it's not mekabel tima, it's mekabel tima in the gom. For instance, a house in Eretz Yisrael in Shloi B'Yerushalayim.
When would someone be sitting on the toilet and not going to the bathroom? Like just stop sitting there to read.
No. If it's after 30 seconds, if you made and you found it, you wiped yourself only after 30 seconds. We don't have the chashash of, you don't have the problem of atulas maraglaim, because then you're going into a problem of maybe you had a regosha. That's not the case. When that's why I said, I always say, if it's possible, that in Baruch Hashem today's day you don't have to say it, because usually they take along their smartphones and they sit a little bit longer before they start wiping. So just calculasaini, like the Rebbe said, like a woman driving, calculasaini, hitakunasaini. So today's days is so, but it can still happen that if she rushes to the then we see going, but it's kedai always, she should stay at least, some say 30, 15 seconds, I would say it's kedai even. The what?
When you may put the toilet in or how you put the toilet in.
No, since Mechiva Lekarka, yeah, I'm a mekabel tima, yeah. If it is, I'm a mekabel tima, Aduvish eine mekabel tima lies on doing a mekabel tima. For instance, if you have it's on a thing which you do eine mekabel tima, but there is on a mekabel tima. So there are some points who want to be a machmer, but lamasa Farkash mit Ravosner all say that it's not makabel tima, although it is anaduvar makabel tima, and Ravosner had a very geschmackerei. He says that we have a halacha that when she wipes herself, and it was only a kerich b'mechitz, and it's on paper, so we are going to be Michael because it is ein makabel tima. Wait a minute, she holds the paper in her hands. Her hands is makabel tima. The order is makabel tima. So over here we see Ravosner brings a shiny geschmackerei. If over we see aduvish ein makabel tima, which is on a makabel tima, it's not a problem. It gives us lenient because underwear from a lady will be makabel tima. And if she has a white underwear, it's makabel tima. But if she has a pad on top, if we are going to say that it's a problem, then we have, so therefore we are Michael. So that's the kiddush of the word ein makabel tima. Again, ein makabel tima, even though it's more than a gris. If it's, again, we have to remember, it has to go in the gather of kesem without a gosha, then we have linear that even if it's more than 17 millimeter, we can still be a Michael.
So by this logic, besides for Shavinikim, if you always wait 30 seconds, can you
Kannst du gucken?
You can look.
Yeah, but if you went in, guys, daran ashale finden.
No, so if you bachot at a wide thing and you wait 30 seconds,
if you wait, yeah, okay, yeah, okay. Eine makabel tima.
Chutz von Shavinikim.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
Besides why?
Why by Shavinikim would you not be able to continue looking?
Noch einmal, wenn ich hallo mal ashale auf 11 Shimnikim, weil ich auch spielen. Aber Shimnikim, wenn wir schon bald sein, haben wir ins gewisse mehr Chimmer, das man mal, yeah. But again, it's only you have this t'nai. You waited 30 seconds, and okay, and you stay away from Moise Mukim. You don't go in. That's one of the wichtigste parts. And the third killer, which we mentioned, is that has to be begit tzivur. Yeah, a killer a begit tzivur. If it's a begit tzivur, then we can be a Michael because Zalom is gassed nor of white, and if it's begit tzivur, it's okay. What is if it's a begit tzavua and it is begit tumul chagifah? Now again, what was the rational? What we said why begit tzavua we could be Michael? So we said that since it's a begit tzavua, we don't see the color and man hat uns gewisse Sachen. Aber es ist interessant, als the Peschachi bringt up Chasam Sofer, and Chasam Sofer wants to say that if it's a begit tumad legifa, is a fill of a begit tziviyah zamad asam. Well, it's kim bo is a mukam. Normal is kim bo is a mukam. In Chasam Sofer is zufrieden, very unhappy with this begit tumad legifa when it's a begit tziviyah. And the Arsam Achroinim, which the voice says, I don't understand the Chasam Sofer, but what should I say? The Lushim was azukt is Tzrichim luchoy v'roish b'moed mit der Rabbuna lekabel devurov. Chasam Sofer said, it's a Chasam Sofer, you can't play around. In the Maritz, the Shinsky writes, Hoil the nufig b'pim the Chasam Sofer, ruah luchish ledevurov. But Lamasa, we are Michael. Rabbi Yosef, Puporov is using the line, which Iker is a gewinn a größe Mejire haruah, gewinn a machmar, aber hat a shayne tshiva, gepasken, so klur, as a fila begin zum legif in Lamasa, most Ribbeke killer from Achroinam are Michael, and the Bashloime wants to say, even the Chasam Sofer hat no machma gemein, like it chille, as you shouldn't wait, das ist unten kann begit the Savoyne hat mir legife, gleich sie putte werden für gesummen. But if it happened that it is a case of a begit zum legife, but the evidence Chasam Sofer auch Michael, and this is how we are going to be Michael. If even in today's begodem at smidim legif, today's underwear, and even it is the color is the dam is mamash against boys and muka, we are going to basically be Michael that it is begit tzviyah and Michael. Now it's not a difference if it's begit tzviyah men hashemayim or begit tzviyah what? Chasam Sofer begit tzviyah. Begit tzvoyne when it's sumach legif. Dort hat er a
And also not the sheer kesem of the sheer.
He does come in the Juganas. He wants to say, but it depends on hour. Some hour, yeah.
So he's like, there's no like zeta.
Something like that. But Chasam Sofer, and we are going to accept this Chasam Sofer about it Greece. Sometimes we're going to say we're going to be Michael only if it is as much as we could find. Because when we have poor killers, when we schmeichel sind alle killers. So again, we even though we don't pass 100% like all this, but we sometimes you're going to be a machmar on it. Again, as I mentioned, off-white is a problem, so therefore make sure it should be off-white is still considered lovan, so therefore it's out of limits. Kedai again, nochmal I want to stress it again, it's not kedai to have real light colors. Although es kima poila shale, that man sich spielt damit, aber it's kedai to be on the safe side that you should have black. The best thing would be if it's black or dark red. Kemivn, let me just make it clear. We mentioned before that pads are in Makabel Timmer. So therefore, we should, that's a gewaltige sibbe of to be Michael's on. But in any case, it's not kedai to use black pads. Black pads, a couple of years ago, there's a kalkoire from a bunch of bunam that you shouldn't use, especially when it comes a little bit later in the before your vest is coming, because we had a lot of problems that they had the black pad, and you could buy black pads, and there was a couple of years which a lot of people were still when the kalkoire came out, even Rabbun Labash, Anash wrote against it that you should stop wearing it, because sometimes people had a mamash flow, but since it's black, you don't see. So if you tear it up and you look inside, then you can see it. It's full of blood. So therefore, when it comes, black pads is kedai to stay away, and especially when it comes the days before your period is supposed to come, then for sure, them is the challah dies, then you should not have black. But when you have underwear, is yokedai to have black or red, because then when it's a flow, you're going to feel, you're going to see it, you don't come wet. Now, if it is a beged which is colored, that means it's a little bit white, a little bit red, polka dots, whatever it should be, then we have to look, the kesem has to be, if you see the kesem on the white, if on the white is going to be a gris, you're going to have a problem. If it is a gris, but half is on the red and half is on the white, and on the piece which is white is less than a gris, we are going to be Michael. We're going to, but sometimes you're going to have another thing, which you have, let's say it's like a zebra colored. Now, black, white, or red, white. And you're going to have a stain, and you're going to have a part of white is going to be red, a part of the white is going to be red, in the middle, the black one or the red one also going to be red. It's what you see, it's one stain. It's one stain. And if you take only the white, it's going to have gigris void. Now, as we mentioned before, if it is black and white or red and white, and we have one stain, and on the white we have only puchsmike gris, that's fine. But over here, on the white, we're going to have puchsmike gris, yoisimike gris. If you could take the both whites, it's going to have puchsmike gris. So according to most poiskim, we're going to be machman in such a case. That means it's mitzaref. When it comes to anash, I feel, and I'm more Michael in it, because basically the piskedina is Michael. And there's all cheshm why it's Michael, because the Alter Rebbe brings down, it's based on machlokes in Pshat Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe brings down Amil Tzedukah, which Amil Tzedukah, the Alter Rebbe brings the first part and not the second part. So piskedina is Madaik, why didn't he bring the second part, which the Amil Tzedukah says the second part, that if you have a white and white and the middle is black, it's Matzaref. So why the Alter Rebbe didn't bring it? Because he doesn't hold about it. But andere Poiskim does not want to agree in the half. Farkash has a bisadik verkeerd. That Mikema Dais Alter Rebbe is ja machmer. So dan Farkash is meer machmer. But Lamaase, ich habe kabel gegeven van mijn Rebbes, that ins Lubavitcher Chassidim, since the Piskedinim holds, is Madaik in the Alter Rebbe, lehukel, and also the Eimek Shale. The Eimek Shale is the Honas Taiper. The Eimek Shale, Honas Taiper, ik ben aan machmer, alles ik in Oester gemaakt bij hem. Begral de Russische Rebunen, begral zijn gewoon meer machmeren met de Galicianen, Polish, Ingrische. And he was a big machmer, but he zooks pshat in the Alter Rebbe, as going to Alter Rebbe is Michael. So therefore, ich makabel going to be a Michael in such a case, but again, when you have such a shala, ask. But there are some Arbuna Nasham saying clearly that we should know that if you had other murderers which were machmer, yesh mukkel mazeh, aber akapunem ich makabel from Alter Rebbe, so mekem Michael zang. Akapunem ins Lubavitcher Chassidim, kem Michael zang. Someone piskedim with the Eimek Shala, yesh mukkel lehukel. But again, it's kedai in such a case to ask. But the best thing will be, don't go into this kind of shalas. Don't wear such a zebra underwear or the polka dot that you wear. If you wear color to finish, staying away from all these things. Zayin Nikiyim, you cannot wear ksumim, a big ditzavoina. Zayin Nikiyim, Chazal Avegestellt, has to be white and cannot be colored. If a person has really, really problems of ksumim, she should speak with Moira Ruah, and in some cases we are going to be Michael. She should wear colored begodam, but that's only in rare cases. B'derech klal, in Shiva Nikiyim, you have to wear white ones. So the fourth thing which we mentioned before was Kesim Shal Gifoy. Kesim Shal Gifoy. If she finds a Kesim Shal Gifoy, not on the begodam, Shal Gifoy, how many say big machloikes? If puchas mekegris, it's a problem or not. We know that basically Kesim al begodam, puchas mekegris is not a problem because of the jukim, of the vons in which we have. But if it's on the begodam, if it's on begifoy, it's a große machloikes. If it's matama or it's matar less than a gris. The Master Peskedim writes that Shechnurach Rabbeini lo yechriya. Shechnurach hat nicht machri gewein, but the Master Forkash both of sehr stark that the Alter Rebbe halt l'chimra, and this is we are going to be machma l'maisa, that if you find on her body, we're going to find a kesam, even if it's megigris, then, and pashtas, if it's red, because if it's not a color, it's red, hamaret madich nicht, aber es ist schwitze verringen was narufa, so sache bakapunam. In such a case, we are going to be a machmer, if it's megigris. But again, as I mentioned before, it's not too practical, the shala, because if she has underwear, and she didn't take it off, then we are going to say, since it's not on the underwear, it's only on the feet, so therefore we're going to be Michael. It's only if she finds on the feet after she went to the ladies' room, then we're going to have this kind of problem, and we're going to be machma if it's puchs megigris, because can't keep a boy semukam that the underwear should become toma. When it comes to ksumim and begodam, we have to know that it depends where it is. Also, it's going to be with the body. Also, if she has places which no blood could come on her body, then we're going to be Michael. And the same will also go with if it's on places which it doesn't make sense it should come their blood. When it's Michael's on. But when it comes to things which she finds, let's say a case on her hand, since the hand so she might touch so therefore I have a problem that except if she knows for sure I did not touch anywhere, I didn't go there at all, then when Michael's on. But sometimes we have these things. She makes a badika and she finds a little bit blood on the hand, you're going to have very serious problems. Kesish Michael's on of this, because although it's not a case, you didn't find the badika, you found it on the hand, but the Maase Kenazana says a case, Shalagifa, and Mizmei Machbar. Chitz Toma Mevaisa, she touches things. Then we're going to do a different ball game. If we know that she touched beets, if she touched borscht, she touched wine, she touched fish, she made fish, she cleaned fish, whatever it should be, whenever we know for sure that basically she touched some kind of blood things, then if she found blood, then it can be even yosim gegris. Then everything we have a lot of lenience. Initially, we are Michael a lot because we are saying she touched, and this is common things. It's kedai. Whenever a lady makes a badika, she should look her hand first, because sometimes she touches things and she touches the badika. When it comes to badikas, so hamishin wants some problemen. So it's kedai aibik to wash her hands. But if she lamasa found something, and we know that she cleaned fish that day, it was Wednesday, she cleaned the fish or whatever it should be, she painted with a child, she had colors, all these things. I mean, it's like in consideration of Tzekena Michael's and of Ksumim. Kesem which you find on the bed. Kesem you find on the bed, we are going to be machmar. Because we are saying, although we didn't find it, we had Begudim Matzvidim Legif. So we mentioned when we have Begudim Matzvidim Legif, we are more lenient. But since when you sleep, it's like a wash machine, you turn around. So it could happen that it should slip away. And it's kind of found. So if you are going to find a kesem on a bed, then even she has underwear, we're going to be machmir again. Except it has to be bigger than a gris, has to be white, has to be makabel tema. It is because the lalacher linen is makabel tema. But again, if it is white and if it's more than a gris, which can happen shivan kiyam, we are going to be machmir, although her underwear is clean, because that's except if it's let's say by the head. Yeah, if it's by the head, how does even a person turns around when she's sleeping, but it's not normal. She should, or on the pillow. The pillow, if you find something by the pillow, again, most of the person will be Michael by a pillow, because after all, a pillow does not come in the middle of the bed. But if it is in a place where she could turn around, that she has underwear is not a sibah to be Michael's.
Sheets should also be colored?
What?
Sheets should also be colored?
If it's not Shivan Akim, yes. And usually by most people it is colored. Shivan Akim has to be white.
What about sheets?
Even sheets. Yeah.
Nosebleed?
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah. If we know that she suffered from nosebleeds, then it's Michael's hand. If a kid, then fine.
So you could be toilet.
You could be toilet. Yeah, but you cannot. You could be toilet, but du bist massiv auf toilet zu sein. Once you toilet of such things, then you're going into the first 3 days of Shivan Akim. You hast me a problem. The first 3 days of Shivan Akim, we're not toilet of Dvurim Chitzonian.
It's still not Midaraisa, right?
What?
It's still not Midaraisa.
No. A kesim is never midaraisa. But what difference does it make? But you're still Tama, you're still 5 and 7, you still go to make you have to still make a bracha, a tefillah. It's no difference. It is difference of taliyas. So that's why I'm saying, if it's white, it's a Shivan Akim, it's white, and it's bloody, you don't say maybe she had blood in nose.
You don't see it on the face.
Do a zweit Sache. This is in some afro when a lady finds a kesem, yeah, and he is intended to have blood. That if when her nose bleeds, afterwards she could feel in her nose that it was bloody. Remnants of blood, then you should be toilet. But if, in such a case, although she's a lady which usually has the tendency that usually she could bleeds very easy, but since usually she sees when it bleeds, and over here she doesn't see, you cannot be toilet. So Talia is not that easy either. But again, if you have a child which has the nose bleeding, she came in the mother's bed, yes, you have killers. But again, sie schon andere Mine Talia, sie geht mit andere Mine Sachen. Another thing we have to know. What?
There's a question on this.
Okay.
Let's say the bed is a colorful sheet, but under you have like a white thing. Do you have to take off the sheet to see the white kesem, or I didn't see it?
Well, you didn't see. You don't have to. There's no another mitzvah to look ksuma. But if you took it off and you saw it, then you have a problem. That's always the cloud. It's always the cloud. As when you have a underwear which is white and you have you're putting in something like a pad or whatever.
I don't have to look under another.
No, you don't have to. But if it's not a good pad, or it's just putting in a tissue over there, usually it goes through as the gunish ogetin. Although the tissue is item kabel tima, it goes through on the underwear. What?
So I see the tissue. It's a good example. So I see the tissue.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shoot! And you take the underwear, throw it in the wash machine. I didn't look at it. I only see the tissue. The tissue is fine.
If you don't see, okay. It's the case. If you don't see, what?
Even though you serve a cycle, you don't see the ayin mamish.
My chetaisi you saw by the cycle. Maybe it's a piece when only on the tissue it didn't go through. It didn't go.
It's a bigger.
Better not to look under the colored sheet until the day that she's
If you what?
She has a colored sheet. She don't look under the colored sheet until the day that she's tummy.
Till a day.
Till the day that she's tummy anyway.
Okay. In Sommer nicht kann es Sibov, es kann machbar sein, sich in Ksumma. Sich mir nicht sich in Ksumma. When she's, what? Now, when we talk Shiva Nikiyam, that's something else. Shiva Nikiyam, that's something else.
mattress in the last year.
Exactly, don't look at the white rat. So mitzvah to kind of Sachen. The cleaning lady, okay. Yeah, but again, let me make it clear. When I'm talking about Shiva Nekim, we do a dinner for ich darf man birre dvurim. And that's why we wear white, because we want to know what's going on. And that's something else. Ich rede aber stamazoi, when you found a kesem on a colored dus, so nicht kein Mitzvah zu kein Sichen, ist sie der gegangen? Nicht kein Mitzvah. Sie sagt, the Luschen Chazal, loi omri chachumum lo hachmer ele lo huklim. But ksumum. So I'm geassert, aber so I'm gegeben klulam. And we don't have to be over, Sichel, verkehrt. Don't be OCD, Was man said, but once you saw, then you ask. The same as all achrorim right, that you're going in the toilet. You don't look. Why? Efsher, kick nicht, oskam problems. Don't see, don't say. Yeah? Which other guy the slogan? See something, don't see, and don't say.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But fishes in the toilet, you throw it away, you're never going to see it again. On the mattress or mattress protector, you could 2 days later, you'll take off the sheet, you'll see it.
Then you're going to the problems. But
I'm saying it's inevitable, you're going to see it eventually. The question is when.
No. Okay.
Make sure you clean later, doesn't it?
What happens if you see it later? Does it make a difference? What?
But you see it when she's stomach. See, it happened today. Yeah, when she's stomach. When we have a tliya, we just said before, she cleaned or she used crayons or whatever she do. Whenever we have a tliya and the colors does not match, then we will not be toilet. For instance, if she has a color, on the bag it is a specific color, and whatever she used, she worked around with a red, but totally different red. So that's not a sibba to be toilet, because it's not the same. It's not the same color. Has to be epos v'sot apshat. Another thing, has to be also the size. For instance, if I know she was working with a piece of fish, which let's say had or anything which had a little bit of blood, or she had a pimple, a little bit of blood. Yeah, she had a pimple, a little bit of blood, and now she sees a kesem which doesn't make sense. It doesn't work like that. It's much more blood than a kesem. Then you cannot be toilet. Has to make sense as a kind toilet on. The same as we say, if it's more than yoisike gris v'oid, we're going to be machmar because it's more than how much a bed bug has blood. The same will also be whenever it doesn't match, then we are going to say that you cannot be toilet because she used. When it comes, a lot of times she has people who had you see on the color it's a magic marker. Yeah, you see a magic marker. So that's always kedai to bring, even though it looks 100% red, but you could see the color on the. It's not a regular color. The color of a pen. I gave Shemesh one of the light, and one of Badika. One of the Badika it tells me this is not a color. This is not a color. I said you're right. It's not a color, but das demons noch nicht genickt zu können sagen, it's nicht the color of the blood. This is right. You have to be mavara if she had some kind of connection with such a thing, because over there was already a badika. So you can't just tamazoy machen. But sometimes you could see that it's not the color which is a regular color of blood. It's kedai nicht to pass in the line. Bring it to the roof, and we'll have to see what, when, and where. There's another thing also. Sometimes, especially when it's black. Black is the halacha is whenever you have a black mara, then you have a problem. Black is a problem. Now I'm going to tell you from practical thing. It's rarely that you can have a maradam which is black. Usually when you have black, it is something which is outside. But again, it's kemenish Michael's stamazoi, because if you see black and sikikto is a size, whatever it is, we have to be machma. But it's always kedai in such a case is gribbling. I have a story which is a story which the boy Shanaishlas once. A young man came with a linen which had a black stain. Mama, she dort mit sie geschliffen, a black stain. The Moshe Neishlas, she brought the mother. Moshe Neishlas said to her, listen to me. This is not blood. Ich kann nicht Michael sagen, weil sie schwarz, sie geht daran in Klulen für das, but I'm telling you it's not blood. Make your research. So the Ingeman told me this. So I picked myself up. I drove to Williamsburg. In Williamsburg, there's a famous linen store which is called Wiesner. Not linen, or everything. They sell menswear. I'm a manufacturer and a big wholesaler. I went over there and I called the Ingeman and says, listen to me. I had a linen which has black. It wasn't big, it wasn't small, it was kind of a case, whatever, all the problems, and not even gigris, because again, if it's black, you cannot toilet and as a bed bug. So therefore, even if it's less gigris, you have a problem. Tell me, this doesn't look, and Moshe Maisha says it doesn't look like blood. Maybe you could, he says, okay, I'm telling you the truth. I made a run, and the machine had a problem, and they had machine oil, which went on, I would say, 100 sets of linen. And if you remember, when you bought it, we gave it cheaper because we had this stain. So if you ask me, yes, I'm telling you, I know exactly how it looks. It's over there, it has to be over there. He brought it to him. He says, this is the stain which we had from, but this is a mimche von a Siyata D'Shmaya and a mimche von a Rov. Es hat gesehen, hinderte of not 100,000 maras. Gleich gesagt, this is not black, this is something from Machitz, but again, we have to see from where it could come. We can't machla because of this. But Akaponam, it's Gdly, that's why I only say it's Gdly always, the Askarov, which had Shemesh, which could basically try to see, which direction to go. Okay, let's go a few nikidas which we want to go through. When sometimes after Tashmish, the husband finds something on his underwear, So that's a thing which you have to ask Arov, because you're going into problems. Might come from her. So that's a thing which yesh lasa shalas chucham. If is a person which has his rugl that he could see dam mo'is mukam, that means the husband there are machlas of a problem and that sometimes it will bleed from there. Kamas toilezan, but when he finds something, then especially if you find something which he wiped on it, then you have to ask her off and not say, it's not so good with the imitier. It's a guy so, If a person made a bedika, and also shala, which is sometimes women chappen sich that they have to make a bedika. It's Yom Rishon, it's Yom Shvi, and or it's Yom HaChodesh, whatever, they want to make a bedika, and they are in a place, they're in the work, and they forgot to bring along with them a ed. Our our item, what is it called, what you make the ed bedikas, is always considered ed habudek, because the company cleans it, washes it, it's always clean. Except sometimes you're going to find tiny hair or a tiny drop. That must come and toilet on. If it's a hair, usually the roof will happen. Once you have the loop, you could see it's stuck red. Sometimes, a lot of times, you had childless, which you bring the ed, and you see something red. Which if you only look with the loop, you're going to see you're going to be matama. But if you have the loop, you're going to see it's a thread, because there are threads which is basically dinner threads which you rarely see. It's coming from the lift, from the air. So that's for such a thing. We could be toiler at Shayne Budek, but b'chlal our begodam it's called Eda Budek, and we will not be able to be Michael. But sometimes she's in office. She chapt sich booms. I don't have a bedika. So sometimes she's going to take her underwear, make a bedika. Sometimes she's going to take a part of her, let's say from the interhemad or a piece of, she will cut down a piece, which I had shyless more than once. She makes a bedika. over there, it's not an Eda Budak. She wore it the whole day, and maybe she wore it a day before too, not necessarily she changed it. So then, again, if it's such a case, Kedai to say for the Rav, this is a thing which I took from a baguette, because that over here, if you find a kesem, then you're going to have another, it's an Edshine Budik, and that, even on Badike, you could be Michael. Even on Badike, which on Badike, we always, this is not the Geder of Ksumam. Such a case, which is Edshine Budik, we have some lenient. And why am I mentioning it? Because it's not rare, so rare that women should do such a thing. So vergessen, is gemacht haben, aber Badike is Yom HaShvi. And if she batches up, she didn't make a Badike, she cannot go to mikveh that night. She's going to go in the toilet in the office, and she's going to make a Badike. So if she takes a beged, which is not at the Budak, tell it for the roof, because we could use it when we have a Shaila. What? Toilet paper is it's worthless for a badika. It doesn't go. You put it in, it will tear. It doesn't help for a badika. It's not good enough for a badika. Toilet paper is not good enough for me. I have to tell this to the ladies. It's not good enough for a badika, because once you start pushing it in, it's going to tear. It's not going to go bechirim ezdukim. A badika which is not bechirim ezdukim is not a badika. So therefore, toilet paper is not.
אפשר להכיר בזה, אבל עדיין זה לא נחשב בדיקה. אם זה בדיקה שמחייב. Masken. You're right. You're right. 100%. Das ist eine scheine Sache. Aber at least, es ist nicht soiser alles. You're not soiser all the Sheva Nekim. She is right that it is, for instance, if she made one in the morning and it was clean, and she made a second one, that's. But he's right that it's always a cloud. You have to understand that. If you brought up, I want to say it in 1 minute, even though it was probably people want to go down Ma'arav. It's very important. Sometimes a lady has a makkah. Yeah? And when she has a makkah, she made a badika, we are toilet on the makkah. Yeah? She went to the bedekas, and the bedeka says, you have a makkah, so we're going to say, it's not a problem. But if it's Yom Rishon or Yom Shvi, she didn't make a badika. If she didn't make in the morning a badika, a clean badika, if I don't have a clean badika, Yom Rishon, Yom Shvi, it's as if she didn't make a badika. You have a problem. So if a lady goes to a bedekas, B'Yom Rishon or B'Yom Shvi, it's very important to remember this. If she goes B'Yom Rishon or B'Yom Shvi to a bedekas, it is not enough she should tell for the bedekas that she should check if she has a makkah, hamatzi adam. She should tell her also, if you see a makkah bedekas dam, make me a bedika and avoid that place, try to avoid that place. And then you have a kosher badika. Because if you're going to come back to me and you're going to say, listen, she has a makkah b'tziyah dam, and it's after the shkia, and she didn't make a badika, you lost a day. So that's a thing which you have to remember, because he brought it up very nice. That if we have a badika etch budak, and you make a badika, although you could be toiler because etch budak, but you don't have the badika. But if you had made in the morning a badika, so that's something else. Or like a bastir. Shkoyach fan is bringing up very, very good. Yeah.
So you just have to look over the aid that you created to make sure it's clean.
If she should look, that should be like that. She should look, yeah. But sometimes she don't look. She's, this is what she should do, yeah.
And if she did, it's 8 bodek, right?
What? If she did, it's 8 bodek. Yes. Another thing is, some ladies have hemorrhoids, and if she has hemorrhoids, she should tell it for the roof, because in such a case we can have a lot of lenient when it comes to be toilet. And even if she has hemorrhoids, and now lav dafki she had it today, but she's a lady which derech klal has these things, and she wipes on a wider oifen, we could still use a lot of killers regarding these things. So therefore, again, we are trying to give all the inyonim that we should know, we should give over in shtib, because it makes it mature von a rov is lahater ish labala. Du der melech hat sich aufgeteen, als er loch duni, als oisig bemat, weil nie oisig wie mahat ish labala. As I mentioned last year, sind nicht nur Indien zu machmasan, mahat ish labala. So ein Indien zu machmasan, aber gucken so ein Indien zu machmasan auf, as I mentioned, hel gesiegt, but when it comes to hat ish labala, whatever Chazal did in Aser, whatever Chazal gave us lenient, can man unnehmen. You can Indian to sich, as I mentioned, you can to sich problems. Let the problems stay, where it is. If you have a bed which children come in. You mentioned it before. Children come in constantly on a woman's bed, and she finds the kesem. She should also tell this for the rov, because then a lot of times people will say a child had a cut, a child had something, a boo-boo, a child has something. You could look around and can be toiler. So whenever you have a thing which is basically the whole family uses, so it gives us much lenient that basically in Skemmer be Michael. A lady which usually finds a kesem before she sees her period, and it's a common shala. A day before she will start seeing kisumen. Now she comes to the Rav, and according to halacha, the kesem is mitter, she's mitter. But if she has the tendency that usually she's going to see after like such a kesem within the next 12, 48 hours, it is k'dai that at least 24 hours stay away from the husband. In such a case, stay away from the husband, because usually mitzad hilchos ksumam we have what we can be Michael, but after began, since it is common by her, then in such a case it's k'dai that you should stay away, that because you shouldn't have chas v'sholem problems b'shas tashmish.
This is the Sibba of the Erzurah.
The what?
This is the reason of the Erzurah.
No, the Ozari is a chimra that we are choishes that although the Shas vest is only that vest, he was always choishes maybe it will start a little bit earlier. This is not chashash. Huh? If a person had a shala and she got a psak halacha for the rov,
4 or 5 days from.
the what?
When do you do 4 or 5 days in the calendar?
No, that's something else. That's a vest trimasadation. That's
No,
what do you mean?
start counting for the kesem or for the actual flow?
If it depends if it's stomach.
No,
No, it's not osir. It's aitze toiva. Since you're not osir, you have to count only when the vest comes. If the roof tells you it's osir,
So you're staying your waist down.
it's kedai poshe the aitze toiva kamashmalan mitzad haluch kemen sh'asar neval zistur. Aber aitze toiva kamashmalan, because she knows that usually it will come the next 12, 24 hours. You don't want chas v'sholem have roida machzus tashmish. So therefore, stay away. But of course, her father, since mitzad haluch is zitur, it won't. You don't start counting. If the roof ge'asert is, then you're going to it's even more than that. If you have a suffix and you wanted to show it for the roof, yeah, and since you don't know if it's kosher, the kesem is kosher or not, you stay away, yeah, and then you start the flow. So you throw away. You never ask the roof. You could count from the kesem, because since you have poirish mitzad the dina, in such a case you have to be poirish medina, because it's a suffix maybe. So such a case. Haben wir in Amal, was aufgesoffen, hat kein Mensch gepasst, das ist okay. A very important halucha, once you ask a shaila from Marov, then you don't ask with the same shaila, you don't go to other rov. And that's why one of the reasons that the Rabbonim do not let you have the bedika, or whatever you have a shaila, to keep it. One is a practical, because you want to have bedikas for shemesh. But the second reason is because you don't want that you should go shopping by Rabbonim and you found the roof. Oh, now we have a Rabbonim hopping. So therefore, once you ask the Shali, you have a problem. If you say for that roof that you should know, you said it's okay, but I went to ask that roof, and that the roof asat it, and he says, Afe Bekel, you could be Michael. There will be a Choronim which will say, in such a case, you could be Michael, because they want to say that this is nicht a psak. Es ist hat so immer kaum gewesen Shimish, in sieht es anders, aber what? Yeah, but Lamasa, I had it when I was in Ingerman, such a case. I asked the roof, and I asked the other roof, not because I asked it because it was very close to my shver, and I had to go pick up my shver from that roof, and I decided I have it in my pocket. Let me ask him, and he said it's okay. I said, but you should know I asked the other roof, and he said it's now good. He says no problem. Tell for that roof should call me. So he spoke with him and said it's okay. So that's something else. But again, you ask a roof, you got a psak, you stick with that, and you don't go around. What?
Just stay away from the Russian
Russian Rabbonim, yes.